Hello. This is Step Into Your Power with Mel M Rubin. Welcome. Thank you for hopping on my platform and listening to me or watching me wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. So I'm very excited for this particular episode because this is my first episode of Step Into Your Power. So what I'm going to do on this episode is I am going to be introducing myself so you guys get to know me before we actually get stuck into the really nitty-gritty content and how I can help you step into your power with the experience that I've had over the last 3.5 years stepping into my power. So enjoy. We think by living the life we're told to live, we're doing it right. We think we're happy and that we're succeeding because we're living up to what society deems successful. But is that happiness? Is that success? In 2017, after I started to break away from the societal norms and my corporate job, I quickly realised that what we're led to believe is the right way to live really isn't healthy for us at all. A self-discovery journey has led me to step into my power, and now it's my mission to help as many others do the same. So let's get into an introduction into myself. So hi, nice to meet you. My name's Mel M Rubin and I am 28 years young, currently on level 28, darling, which I love the way to look at life like that. Like every year leveling up, you get so many people that are like, oh, I'm afraid of getting old and all of that. I'm actually really looking forward to getting older because I look at it as every year I'm leveling up because I know that I'm always moving forward and learning new things. I can't speak properly. Learning new things. So every year that I get older and I gain a new year, I'm leveling up, which is amazing. It's fantastic. And I highly recommend that you guys start looking at life like that. So instead of, oh, I'm 30 years old, say, oh, I'm on level 30, darling. But yeah, I'm 28 years old, on level 28. And where did I come from? So I came from, I've had a good upbringing. My parents are absolutely amazing. They were actually both entrepreneurs. My dad owned a bakery and my mum owned a costume shop. My mum was very creative. Both of my parents were actually quite creative because my dad's like a really good baker. So I've come from that kind of background where my parents have provided for me, and I'm very fortunate and very grateful for the life that I have lived. And through what I have seen and been brought up around, that gave me the drive to want to own my own business. Now, when before I started in the online world and doing all of this content creation and all of that malarkey, I was in the finance and banking industry. So I was in the finance and banking industry for about 8.5 years. And I was also studying to be an accountant because the way that I looked at the accountancy is, yes, I'll start a business through an accountancy qualification because everyone needs an accountant and it's safe, isn't it? So I embarked on studying accountancy and quickly realised it wasn't for me. I'm definitely not a corporate person. And funnily enough, one of my old managers actually told me that I wasn't a corporate person once. And it made me cry. I was very upset, but now I'm like, I don't even want to be corporate. And I should have said that to her then, but hindsight is a wonderful thing. So yeah, when I first started in the online world, that's the sort of background that I came from, right? So I've always been driven. I've always wanted to, stand on my own 2 feet and provide for myself. But little did I know that this was the route that I would take. So let's go into the reason why I got started. So I got started within the online world because I was in such a rubbish, and I'm going to try and not to swear so much because I do swear a lot, but I'm going to try and keep this PG as much as I can. I probably won't succeed very well, but we'll see, I'll try. So I started for the pure reason that I was broke. I was in so much debt, and I came across this advert. Are you looking to radically transform your financial future? And I was like, oh, well, fuck yeah, I'm in 32 grand's worth of debt. I live on my own. I was living on my own in a flat that I was previously sharing with my ex-partner. And I was like, I need to make a change. I'm struggling. I can't enjoy my life. I want to enjoy my life. Life is there to be enjoyed, right? Life is not there to simply go from paycheck to paycheck, struggling and living for the weekends. And that's exactly what I was doing. And I got to a point where I was like, this is not life. This is not life. This is not the life that I wanted to live. So I jumped in. And when I started, like I said, I was living that life on repeat. So I was going, living from paycheck to paycheck, struggling, and living for the weekends. I was depressed and I was anxious and I was really, really unhappy in my life. So because of that, what I did was I self-medicated and I waited until the weekends would come and I would just get absolutely fucking wasted. Oh no, first swear word. Apologies. I would just get absolutely wasted all weekend. Sometimes I would start on a Friday and not finish until the Monday, and then say to work, sorry, I can't come in, and come up with some excuse. That's how bad it got, and I'm not proud of it. It's allowed me to learn a lot of life lessons, don't get me wrong, and if it wasn't for those times, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. It's not something that I'm proud of, but that was how I self-medicated, and that's how I got through the hard times that I was going through, quite frankly. I was depressed and I was anxious, and the relationship that I had exited, it was... I was with this guy for 4.5 years. We were engaged for 2 years. We'd lived together for nearly a year. And he was very emotionally abusive, which I didn't realise at the time, right? You don't realise when you're in that kind of relationship. And I would give so much. And all I would get from him was broken promises, and he'd lie to me about various different things. I mean, the guy even lied about getting arrested once. What on earth is that about? Don't even ask me. But I wish him all the best, and I hope that he's in a better space now, because through my own personal growth journey and through retrospect, he was struggling as well. And we do the best we can with the tools we have, and sometimes we're just not equipped with the right tools, right? Which is what I'm wanting to change. It's my mission to change this through the things that I teach, the things that I learn, which I then subsequently teach, and also sort of intergenerational. So because of what I've learned throughout my own personal development journey and the way that I have intentionally grown and transformed myself over the last 3.5 years, it's my mission to, like I said, teach that, but it's also something that I want to pass down to my future family and my children. So yes, we do the best with the tools that we have, and most of the time the masses are not equipped with the right tools, but fortunately things are changing, and that's why I am here. I am here to help you step into your power, and I am here to help you with the tools and the resources that I have gained over the time through my own perspective, right? Now, don't take what I have to say as gospel. Do your own research, look around with people that you resonate with, and what feels right to you, go with that. Whatever I share on this channel is purely through my own experience and purely through my own perception and the way that I think. You take with that what you want, okay? So I've come from that kind of background, and I've struggled throughout my life with bullying, with not feeling like I fit in. If you see me, I'm not your typical human, but I've never wanted to be your typical human. I've never wanted to conform with the masses. like, in my eyes, who would want to be normal? Do you know what I mean? But because of that, I have been targeted quite a lot, and you know, because I wasn't equipped with the right tools and the right confidence, it really affected me when I was younger and sort of throughout my years. And it's only recently, throughout the last 3.5 years, that I've really truly stepped into my power and my confidence, and really started to, I've really started to stick up for myself. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still on my own personal journey and I still struggle with things, but I'm constantly open to new lessons and I look for the lessons now, whereas before I didn't, and I would self-wallow, and I was in a victim and negative mindset. So that was the kind of mindset I had. Let me say, I had that mindset. I used to have a victim mindset. I used to have a blaming mindset. I used to focus on the problems and the things that were wrong, but now I don't. Now I completely focus on what I'm grateful for and what I have and what's coming and the future, rather than the past and what's happened and what I'm not happy with and la la la. That never does anyone any good. And the start of me transforming my mindset was gratitude, which I'm sure I'll go into in a future episode. But for those of you that want to kind of know and get an idea of the start of my journey, when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, the start of everything, the first book that I read was called The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. Now, I'm in no affiliation with her. I don't make any money off of me saying this, but it's just an absolutely fantastic book, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that you read it and follow it. It's a 28-day program. As long as you stick to it and you read it every single day and you're committed and you are disciplined, it will change your life. Hands down, it will change your life. It completely changed mine and turned mine around, and I highly recommend it. Like, the power of being grateful is just absolutely fantastic. And the majority of people are just not grateful for what they have, like the roof over our heads, you know, the running water that we have, the food that is so easily accessible. Our toes. If we didn't have our toes, we wouldn't be able to walk properly and balance. Like, there's so many things to be grateful for. So gratitude was really like the start of my journey. And like I said, like everyone, I faced my own struggles in life. We've all got our own shit that we have struggled with in the past, that we need to deal with. Now, what has happened to you in the past may not have been your fault, but it sure as hell is your responsibility to heal from it. Because if you don't heal from it, you're not going to have a beneficial life. You're going to be in this downward spiral, like thinking negatively, and it's going to negatively impact the people that you love in your life, right? And if you don't heal from it, how can you expect to help others with your experience? Like, when you heal from what you've gone through that healing process and the things that you learn through the healing process that you go through, you're able to then pass that on to other people. Well, this is my experience. This is what I did. It may not work for you, but this is what worked for me. And this is how I was able to heal. And it will allow you to connect to other people, because we all have shit. Like I said, we all go through shit. I'm not the only one. You're not the only one. Some may seem worse than others, but all of the shit that we go through is respective to ourselves. So if what you have gone through personally, if you're comparing it to someone else's trauma and it's like, oh, mine's not as bad as theirs, I shouldn't really focus on that. Well, it is to you because it's affected you, right? So don't ever downplay your traumas and what you've gone through, okay? Please don't. Because if you do, you're just ignoring it. You're ignoring it and you're not dealing with it. And then throughout life, it's just going to manifest in uncomfortable ways through addictions, self-medication, like getting angry at other people, like just not nice ways. And if you deal with it and if you heal, it's only going to benefit you and the people around you. So yeah, I've touched upon through life how I've struggled, always being different. I've also like struggled with bullying because, you know, I've always been different, and I tend to have always gone for and looked for love in all the wrong places. So I've not had great relationship experiences, and this is personally something that I am still dealing with, and something that I may go into in future episodes, and as to the reason why, because I'm still delving into that, and I know it's what's gone through, like what I went through growing up. Like all of our issues now that we're dealing with, it always comes from our childhood. So we always have to look at our childhood, like why do we act this way, why are we this way, why do we choose these certain things, and it always goes back to childhood, typically between the ages of like 5 and 14, you know, whatever. And that's why shadow work is so very important, and looking at our past, and having times where we go within and we're like we reflect on certain things. So yeah, the whole relationship part is something that I'm personally dealing with and have struggled with in the past. And now let's go into business. They're kind of the personal stuff, and I'll go into personal stuff as well in my podcast, so you can get to know me and how I deal with my personal issues. Because a massive thing about building a successful online business is self-actualization and self-realization and self-discovery, and I've gone through a lot of that over the past 3.5 years. Okay, so I've explained where I come from. So yeah, I work for a bank. I worked for the bank for 6.5 years, and I worked for a financial company for about 2 years beforehand. So I was in finance banking for about 8.5 years, and then I started this online business seemingly out of nowhere, but this was my calling quite clearly. The universe was like, okay Mel, here you are ready, here's an advert, it's gonna scream out to you and you're gonna jump in, and la la la. And I did. I jumped in. I completely delved into everything. I delved into the whole personal development and learning the business and la la la. And I've had struggles throughout my business journey, as we all do. Entrepreneurship is never plain sailing, and the ones that think entrepreneurship would be plain sailing, I'm here to tell you, unfortunately, it's not that way. But I've gone through my struggles. So when I first started, I'll give you an outline as to what I do, okay, before I talk about my struggles. So I am a network marketer. I work with a company called Enagic, which are such an amazing company. I love them so much. Essentially what they do is they create machines that change the properties in water, okay? Very best machines that anyone can have in their home. The drinking water is very good for our health. I'll go into that in another podcast, but I primarily work with a company called Enagic, but I also work with a training platform that effectively teaches people how to successfully build an online business based around this company and based around themselves, and branding, etc, etc. So I first, and I'm also a success coach, so I coach people to success and I help people succeed in this business, okay? For everything that I've learned and my success, I just pass that on to people and I help them succeed through it, and I give them the coaching, etc, etc. So when I first started in this industry, it was July 2017, I started in a community that had pretty much the same business model as I'm using now, used exactly the same products, and all of that. And when I joined, I didn't really resonate with the leaders of this community, but I saw the vision. I was like, wow, this business model is the one, this company is the one, like the products, the compensation plan is out of this world. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make it happen. I may not resonate with the people, but they've introduced me to it, so I'm going to give it a crack, right? So I delved in. Because of the situation that I was in when I first started, I didn't have enough money to be able to properly invest in the business. So what I did was I got an extra job on top of my banking job. Bear in mind as well that I was doing my banking job, I was studying to be an accountant, and I was like, okay, well, how else can I start this business, okay? Because there's always a way. There is always a way. There is always a solution to any problem that we face, okay? So I was like, well, how can I invest? Okay, well, I'll get an extra job. So I got an extra job and I was delivering pizza. Oh, could you imagine me delivering pizza at your door? Hello, how are you? Oh God, I was this like positive pink-haired like pizza delivery girl, like, hi, how's your day been? It was great. I actually really enjoyed that job. So I started delivering pizza, and then I invested in the business, and I was doing everything right. I was doing all the training. I was learning everything from industry experts, you know, and I was literally learning how to build my business from the bottom up. Because the platform that we use, it uses automated advertising, right, to get people to come to you, which makes it so much easier to build your business. But I had very minimal funds to be able to invest in advertising, because obviously you have to pay for this advertising. So what I did was I learned the advertising, and I was only paying like £2 a day for advertising because that's all I could afford. And then I learned all of the other ways that I could build my business via social media, organic marketing. So that's exactly what I did, and I put all the work in. Any time that I would focus on my business and my growth. And I was learning everything, and seemingly from the outside it would look like that I was successful, and yes, I was in every single aspect but my bank account. And for 2.5 years I pushed and pushed and pushed, and then I was thinking to myself, like, after 2.5 years, like, what on earth? Because I networked through the wider communities, because there's different communities doing exactly what I do, but just with different leadership, right? So I was like, okay, well, I'm doing everything right. I'm seeing success everywhere. Like, what's wrong? Why is this not working for me? And then I was like, okay, it's the community. It's the leadership within the community. Because anyone that wanted to get started in business with me, they joined this community and they didn't properly get started because they didn't resonate with the leadership. Because the leadership didn't care about the people. They only cared about the sales, which is not right. And that's why I didn't resonate with them. But I thought I can still do this on my own because I had the vision, right? But you soon realise that community and the people that you work with are very, very, very important in this industry. So I had a realisation that I needed to change community, and I was watching this other community that I resonated with for about a year. But I wasn't in a position where I was able to reinvest and start my business from the bottom up. So I was watching, and then in September 2019, I knew that I would soon be able to be in a position to reinvest in my business and start from the bottom up. So I moved over and I joined this new community in September 2019. And then in March 2020, I reinvested in my business. And since March 2020, it is now November the 20th, 2020. Within 6 months, I earned more than a year's salary in the bank with this business. And I don't say that to brag at all. I say that because that's the possibility of this business. That's the possibility of the company that I work with, the business model that I work with, and also the industry that I work in. And the great thing about it is you help other people succeed and you succeed. And it's an industry of mutual respect and equal benefit. You know, we all come in with different skills and we all just help each other, and the more we succeed, the more others succeed, and it's just so fulfilling. So yeah, I jumped ship and I moved communities. Bear in mind, for the first 2.5 years that I was in this business, because of the old community that I was with, I had no success. I literally only made like $1,000 in 2.5 years, like nothing. And after that, a lot of people would have given up. But I was like, no, I'm seeing success elsewhere. I know I can do this, so I moved over. Okay, and there's always a missing link. Okay, and this is what I want you to think about. If you're already in the industry, or if you're thinking about getting started, if something isn't working and if you're not seeing a success, there's always a missing link. Okay, so what you need to do is reflect and think, is this missing link myself? Is it something to do with me? Or is it something to do with my community or the people that I'm working with, or something that I can change with, say, my sales funnel or my techniques? Like, what is the missing link? And this is why having mentors are important to talk to, and having a team to work with is important. There is always a missing link, and there is always a solution. And this is a very, very, very important aspect of having an entrepreneurial mindset. If you haven't got a solution focused mindset, then you're just not going to succeed. Okay, and if you've got a problem focused mindset and you're like, I've got a problem focused mindset, how can I sort this out? You can sort this out. It does take work, it does take effort, but you can turn it around. Okay, so yeah, from March 2020, within 6 months, I earned more than a year's worth of salary at the bank. And it's funny because I was literally thinking yesterday in my bed, as I was laying down, I was like, wow. It took me, how long did it take? I started when I was 18 and now I'm 28. It took me 10 years. 10 years. No, 8.5 years, because I was in that industry for that long, sorry. It took me 8.5 years to double my salary, yeah? Because when I started in finance, I was getting like 12 or 13 grand a year, right? And then when I ended in the bank, I was getting around 28 grand a year, right? And in this 6 months of me restarting my business, I have earned a year's salary. So I'm well on track to earning double that salary within a year of me starting this business. And it absolutely, and this is the potentiality of this business and network marketing, and it absolutely blew my mind. It blew my mind so much. So yeah, I mean, that's the crux of me, where I've come from, where I'm at now, and you know what I've done and what I've succeeded at. Essentially, I've completely transformed myself, like person and life. Like I said, I was depressed, I was anxious, I didn't have any self-confidence, I was overweight as well. Like I was like 3 dress sizes bigger than what I am now, and I was just unhappy and unhealthy. And now I'm quite literally living my dream life in Bali, with no worries, like living life how I want, with no one telling me how to live it. I can get up when I want, I can do whatever when I want, and I'm just so grateful that the online world has given me this. And off of the back of that and everything that I have learned, I have found my passion. Now, what is my passion? My passion is helping people step into their power. And this is why I've started this podcast, so I can help as many people step into their power as possible. Because I fully understand that not everyone may want to get involved in business and they're happy in their jobs and doing what they're doing. But at the same time, they may want my help with certain things through what I've gone through. So I've decided to start this podcast and the YouTube channel, so I can reach more people who are seeking that help, you know. So yeah, I love learning about myself. I love learning about myself, and I am an Aquarius with a Scorpio rising and a Capricorn moon. In numerology, I'm a life path 6. And in human design, I am a reflector with a 5-1 profile. And this has been very interesting for me to learn about myself and how to conduct myself in different situations, so social situations, business situations, etc., and knowing what I need for myself. And that's very important, which a lot of people don't think about, is what they need for themselves. Like, too often we put other people before us. No. The most important person in your life is you. Put yourself first. It is not selfish, it's selfless, okay? And there's nothing wrong with being selfish. Like, put yourself first, man. You can't give 100% to the people you love and to your work and to your passion if you first don't fill your cup, okay? So find out about yourself, self-reflect, and look after yourself. So yeah, I've learned so much in regards to my own self-actualization and dealing with things, and spirituality as well. Spirituality has become a massive thing in my life. And before I started this entrepreneurial journey, I was like, first I said I was atheist, and then I was like, no, actually I'm agnostic, because there is a higher power. I have no response to it. I have no knowledge. So there is a higher power, but I have nothing to say about it. So I'm agnostic. And then once I started and I realized the power of gratitude and the law of attraction, that's where I was like, okay, the universe, we are all one, we are all connected. And that's when I started my spiritual journey. And I actually came to Bali for spiritual healing, and I've gone through a few different experiences, and again, self-realizations, why I'm here. Like, what am I doing on this earth? Because we all have a purpose, right? We're all here for our own respective reasons. We are souls having a human experience, and before we get to this earth, we choose why we're coming to this earth. We choose the parents that we're going to have and the family that we're going to have, like, and that's what numerology is about, right? Numerology is a blueprint of your life. Like, we as souls know what kind of life we're going to have, and the human experience is the beautiful thing, right? And we choose to come here for a certain purpose, and this is why it's important to find some kind of spirituality, whether it's the universe, whether it's God, whether it's Allah. It's all the same. It's all the same concept, right? And it's listening to spirit, it's listening to the universe, it's listening to God. And since I came to Bali, I've gone through a lot of realizations about why I'm here, and what I've gone through in the past, and what's really deeply hurt me and affected me and like held me back in some aspects has been really good for me, because of how I've been able to get through it. And now, through my own experience, I am able to teach you. I'm able to teach you and anyone that wants to listen. And I am here to help as many people as possible step into their power, because you have so much power. You have so much power within you. You just need to find it. And then once you find it, surround yourself with the right people that will help you step into it and embody everything that you are, because you're amazing. You are so amazing, and you have so much to offer the world. So much to offer the world. So yeah, that's me. That concludes the first episode of Step Into Your Power with Mel M Rubin. Please can you subscribe to this channel, and please leave a review. And if you've listened to this, can you take a screenshot and can you tag me on your story? My Instagram is @Mel M Rubin, all one word, Mel M Rubin. So yeah, screenshot, tag me in your story, share this with your friends. I want to help as many people as possible step into their power and build a life they love through my own personal experiences and perceptions. And I'm just so excited for the future of this podcast. So yes, thank you for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Don't forget how absolutely fucking amazing you are.